Okay, Chukwanabako here. I want to say that, in fact, let me say it immediately that it's a pleasure to share the moments with you, dear viewer. And we thank God for the fact that He has given us life and enabled us to be found amongst the living at a time like this and the healthy at a time like this. And by any means, if you are not among the healthy, maybe you are in the hospital and you're watching and you're seeing us, my prayer for you is that God will perfect your health within the soonest time possible. I wish you the very best. Please, let's go on as we start with the weather. Before we now get into looking at what we have from the newspapers, many of them that we have here that are coming in this morning. Now, let's take a look at the weather, beginning with Nasarawa State. Nasarawa State, of course, we have Lafia as the capital, of course. I'm talking about that, and they will say it will be mostly cloudy. It will be a mostly cloudy day, and the highest point will be 32 degrees centigrade, and the least will be 23 degrees centigrade. There will be rainy conditions expected around 16:00, that is 4 p.m. Wind gusts are up to 18 km per hour. Again, looking at it, at a time like this, we would say that it's about 26 degrees centigrade now. It will be at 27 at 10, 29, 28 at 10, 29 at 11, 30 at 12 noon, and by the time it will be 1 p.m., it will be 31 degrees centigrade. That's talking about the way we'll find it for Nasarawa State this morning. And the general thing is 25 degrees centigrade. Now, from Nasarawa, let's move to Bayelsa. Moving from up to south, from up north to south. And this time, when we get to, as going to Bayelsa, we are looking at the fact that it's also 25 degrees centigrade mainly, and it's going to be mostly cloudy. But then, rainy conditions are expected around 18:00 hours, that is 6 p.m. Wind gusts are up to 9 km per hour. Right now, it's about 26 degrees there, and it will be 28 in the next hour, 29 at 11:30 at 12 noon, and 31 degrees at 1 p.m. Yes, 31 at 1 p.m. That's talking about Bayelsa State. And from Bayelsa, we'll go straight to Rivers State, just the neighboring state, Rivers State. And from Rivers State, they say it will be 24 degrees pervading. And of course, mostly cloudy. And so it will be also, they will have rainy conditions, but that will be expected about 17:00 hours, that's 5 p.m. Wind gusts are up to 10 km per hour. And looking at the way it is right now, it's about 26 degrees centigrade there. It will be 27 at 10. By the time it will be 11, it will be 29. At 12 noon, we'll have it at 30 degrees, but then 1 p.m., we'll get to the highest point, that is 31 degrees centigrade, talking about River State, Port Harcourt. And so we'll return to the north, this time going to Kaduna. Kaduna State, of course, with Kaduna as the capital, as we go. It will be 24 degrees pervading, but then partly cloudy too, we've been told. The rainy conditions are expected around 5 p.m., that's 17:00 hours, and wind gusts are up to 12 km per hour. Again, about this hour is 25 degrees centigrade, and there is sun coming up. Then 27 degrees will be at 10, 11 will be 28. By the time it will be midday, it will be 29 degrees centigrade, and at 1, it will be 30 degrees centigrade. Oh, well, that's for Kaduna. So there is the sun that will be seen today in Kaduna. And then in Benin, that is going south again, going to Edo State. We have Benin City. Benin City will have 24 degrees centigrade as the pervading weather. Then it will be cloudy again, as mentioned. But then the rainy conditions are expected at about 16:00 hours, that is 4 p.m., and wind gusts are up to 10 km per hour. Again, 25 degrees about now, 27 next hour, 28 at the following hour, 29 degrees at 12 noon, and 30. That's where it will get to at 1 p.m. Straight I'll run from Edo. From Edo. I'll get to Benue, and then Benue, Makurdi, of course. Makurdi is the headquarters of Benue. We have 25 degrees centigrade pervading again. Then cloudy condition, we have a highest point of 31 and the least point of 24. And looking at it, they said there will be rainy conditions expected around 12 noon. Wind gusts are up to 18 kilometers per hour. The weather, if you look the way it is right now, it's about 26 degrees centigrade. But then, in the past hour, it was 25. But then the next hour it will be 28, moving to 29 hourly, 30, and 31 at 1 p.m. So that's just the way it will be for Benue. And from Benue, we for once go to the west, and then we're going to Oyo State. Oyo State, of course, Ibadan is the capital city of Oyo. And we have 23 degrees there. Cloudy condition, highest point 30 degrees centigrade and least point 22 degrees. This 22, well, as was not mentioned among the ones we've seen earlier, that is because in the last hour it was 23. Right now it's 24, to be 26 the next one, 27 and 28. Then the highest point will be 29 at 1 p.m. Partly cloudy conditions expected around 1600 hours, that's 4 p.m. again. Wind gusts are up to 12 kilometers per hour. From Oyo, we go to Ogun. From Oyo, we go to Ogun State. And so in Ogun State, we'll get 24 degrees centigrade, the prevailing weather. Then the cloudy, it will be cloudy. The highest point will be 31 degrees, and the least point will be 23 degrees. It will be partly cloudy conditions, and that will be expected around 1700 hours. That is talking about 5 p.m. Wind gusts are up to 10 kilometers per hour. Again, this hour is 25 degrees. In the next hour, it will be 27. Following will be 28 and 29 at midday, and then 30, 1 p.m. That's from Ogun State. Talking about, of course, Abeokuta. Then Osogbo, we are coming from 23 degrees centigrade. Cloudy, 30 degrees highest point, 20 degrees least point, and the partly cloudy conditions are expected around 1600 hours, that's 4 p.m. And wind gusts are up to 12 kilometers per hour. 24 right now, 25 in the next hour, 27 the following, 28 following at midday, and 29 degrees at 1 p.m. Osun State, Osogbo. Coming up to Kano State now. We'll come to Kano, and that's moving back up north. And up north here we have Kano, and Kano will be at 25 degrees centigrade at the prevailing weather. The mostly sunny situation, that's what we'll have in Kano. Highest point 34 degrees and the least point 23 degrees. But right now it is quite sunny, completely sunny, and it's at 27 degrees. It will follow at 10, 29. At 11, it will be 31 degrees centigrade. At 12 noon, that's midday. It will be 32 degrees centigrade, followed by, and the next hour, 1 o'clock, it will be 30 degrees centigrade. And it's all cloudy, all sunny, mostly sunny. But then, partly cloudy conditions are expected around 1600 hours. That is 4 p.m. again. And wind gusts are up to 17 kilometers per hour. That is for Kano. Then from Kano we go down south again, this time going to Lagos State, Ikeja, and from Lagos 25 degrees is what we have the prevailing condition. It will be mostly cloudy, 30 degrees will be highest point and 24 degrees will be the least point. Rainy conditions are expected around 1 p.m. that is 1300 hours. Wind gusts are up to 12 kilometers per hour. And checking where it is right now, it is 26 degrees centigrade that it is at. 28 will be in the next hour, 29 following the hour, 30 the next, and it will still be 30 at 1 p.m. So that's the way it will be as you follow what goes on in the weather situation. Then we will return to Abuja and conclude with Abuja, talking about weather. And in Abuja, of course, the FCT Abuja, the capital of Nigeria, we have 24 degrees as the prevailing condition. Then partly cloudy day we have 30 degrees at the highest point and 22 degrees centigrade as the least point. And coming to check the hourly conditions, you have 24 degrees right now, 26 the next hour, 27 the following hour, 28 the next, and 29 at 1 p.m. But rainy conditions are expected around 16:00 hours, that's 4 p.m., and wind gusts are up to 14 kilometers per hour. That is for Abuja. And with Abuja, the FCT, we conclude the things we have for the weather for today, Monday, of course. And we will now go forward to look at what we have from the newspapers. I want to do that and get to the point where I'll bring in my guests with whom I will discuss things that have to do with this. So let's just take that straight away, not taking any break, but moving on along straight to get to the next one, and that's looking at the newspapers the way they are. We want to begin from the sun. Now, looking at the sun, here comes the sun, and that's what we want to do. And looking at the sun, just beside the masthead, we have something that has to do with Delta State. It says, Delta dismisses Omo Agege's assassination claims, accuses him of seeking cheap media attention. Delta dismisses Omo Agege's assassination claims, accuses him of seeking cheap media attention. From that Omo Agege story, we come down below the masthead. We have FG targets digital independence, spends 3.8 trillion naira on IT, with the rider 2 satellites, cloud drive cut foreign tech reliance. Then the headline for that newspaper, Tinubu, Atiku, Obi differ on economy, security, education. We have 3 riders. Nigeria needs new economic direction, not Tinubu's policies, says Duke. Subsidy, Atiku's U-turn without accountability dishonest. That's what Hashim says. I guess that Hashim should be the vice president. And then stakeholders demand issue-based campaigns, warn against violence. And beside the picture story that we have there, we have beer prices may rise as brewers battle 113 billion naira first half tax bill, higher energy costs. Okay, beer price may rise as brewers battle 113 billion naira first half of the year tax bill and higher energy costs. Followed by the other one, 2027 campaign. Kawu urges Yari-led APC Council to acknowledge Nigerians' hardship. Kawu urges Yari-led APC Council to acknowledge Nigerians' hardship. That's it. There is need to acknowledge that because it's important for us for the truth to be told. Then next to it we have Onayekon, Mba, Osigwe, Yadudu, Okunna, Save a Life Hospital CMD. Save a Life Hospital CMD, that is Okafor, Dr. Okafor. Orders to speak at NGE 2026 conference in Enugu, September 24-25. Obi of Onitsha, that's the rider, to chair event. Then the last one on that side, beside the second picture on that front page, is a 424 billion naira social welfare allocation from 20.4 trillion naira windfall. Troubling. That's what the expert says. That 424 billion naira social welfare allocation from 20.4 trillion naira windfall is troubling. Well, you can look into the paper to find more about that, but that last story came from page 2, is on page 2, and the one preceding it is on page 29, and so on and so forth. You see the pages as they go. Let's give it a punch this time, looking at the Punch newspapers. Let's find out what we can pick from the Punch. And with that very strong punch, I come in this morning above the masthead. I look and see that there are 1, 2, 3 stories above the masthead. So we'll take them before we come down. Tributes as Nollywood Ogun Mon Ogogo at 66. Tributes as Nollywood Ogun Mon Ogogo at 66. Oh, it's quite a pity the man is eventually gone, because the daughter was shouting and crying, saying, anything that could be done, let it be done, please. I don't want my father to die. And he has already gone to stage 4 of cancer, which is almost impossible to bring back. But well, it has happened, and so may his soul rest in peace if he merited that peace. And the next story there is oil blocks, 31 winners. Oil blocks, 31 winners face payment deadline. 31 winners face payment deadline. Then we have Osun poll. How vote buyers breached EFCC, ICPC, INEC defenses. How vote buyers breached EFCC, ICPC, INEC defenses. Beside the masthead, there is this story, 2027, Atiku Obi make final moves on campaign councils. Atiku Obi make final moves on campaign councils. And below the masthead, FAC Bonanza in red, and the main story about it in black. Governors face questions as payouts hit 47 trillion naira. We have 3 riders. The first is post-subsidy windfall. FAC revenue, that's FAAC revenue, hits 47 trillion naira in 3 years, surpasses previous 6-year total. Wow. Then the second one states LGs get bigger FAAC shares. Governors face heat as subsidy removal debate resurfaces. And the third one, again, FGAPC tackle Atiku over petrol subsidy return call. And below the 2 stories that are there, 2 pictures that have, of course, these are picture stories. We have 3 years to look at. One in green is 150,000 naira palliative. Pensioners threaten mass protest. That one is on page 9. Then NDLEA arrests 101-year-old cannabis dealer, daughter in Ogun. A woman that is aged 101 years of age is still dealing in cannabis. And of course, dealing along with her daughter. It's quite a pity. Well, the next one, this is the story on red and the base. Then the one on the other green is 2027. Mba Onayekon, headline NGE debate on election disinformation. Disinformation, that's the thing there. And so, well, we'll move from there, get to the next story. First Daily. And First Daily says, we can't keep counting bodies. Obi demands action on killings. That is the story that is beside the masthead. Then we have security forces kill 6 suspected gunmen in Anambra. That's just below the masthead. And in Anambra raid, NDLEA arrests 101-year-old great-grandma for selling drugs in sachets. 2027, no election should destroy Nigeria's unity, APC chairman warns. The troops rescue 6 kidnapped victims, recover cash in Katsina. Then the headline, releasing Tinubu's U.S. drug files will disgrace Nigeria, Buratai. Then again we have some 2 stories, 2 airs. It says, Melaye to sue NRS boss Adedeji over APC campaign role. And Nollywood legend Taiwo Hassan, the one that is known as Ogogo, dies after cancer battle. Yes. And then finally, beneath the story, the picture story, we have Serap to INEC, publish campaign spending limits. And trying to see how much I can do, how much we can go, to see what we can get before we bring in my guests. I will say, let's look at News Direct. And the News Direct has this. News Direct hosts my, that is above the masthead. It says, News Direct hosts my money and I focusing on practical strategies for saving growth, for savings growth. And then the second story there, Accord Rep candidate, Alabama released after 26 days in police custody. And the other one, Abuja Continental Hotel staff rejects TUC picketing threat. And then just below the masthead is the headline, Dangote takes free fuel delivery to 4 more states. Dangote takes free fuel delivery to 4 more states. Kano, Imo, Anambra, Nasarawa join initiative. That's one rider. The second rider, as Petron urges Rivers government to accelerate CNG adoption to reduce transport costs. Then we have 3 years by the side of two picture stories. The first says, REAMD proposes digital energy zones to power Nigeria's AI industrial growth. Then the other one, 101-year-old woman arrested as NDLA intercepts cocaine hidden in fufu. Cocaine hidden in fufu. From pipeline coating to African industrial ambition, the soul one story. The Soleil War story. Okay. Well, that is the thing we have there. And let's take this one and still continue. Reports, that is from New Telegraph. From New Telegraph, we have the story that is just above the masthead. Report, Nigeria spent 1.26 billion naira on food imports in 4 months. And then CPPE backs FG's reform scorecard, seeking focus on productivity. And there are 4 years that are just below the masthead, where we have Kogi Central factors that will decide Natasha Bello rematch. Then the other one, Tinubu afraid of competition, says Galadima, where it has a rider, and the rider says we have answers for anyone who accuses Obi of anything. And then NDLEA arrests 101-year-old grandma for selling drugs in sachets. Then Nollywood grieves as veteran actor Gogo bows to cancer at 66. Daughter recalls last moment burial slated for today. Donald Duke, that's the headlines. Donald Duke, Thabo Mbeki told Nigeria could face a coup over Obasanjo's second-term bid. Then Nigeria would have, that's a rider there, Nigeria would have been a different place if Yar'Adua hadn't died, Patu Tommy. There are these 2 years, Malawi heads to court over NRS boss Adedeji's role in Tinubu campaign council, and with the rider set up to INEC publish political donation limits, party finances. Then NGE confab Onayeko Mba Osigwe others to speak in Enugu. And coming below the picture story, 2027, match your prayers with action, PFN tells Christians. Then $5 billion Abu Dhabi deal, Oye, worried over accountability. And finally, under the very last story down there, it says antioxidant rich diet may lower cervical cancer risk. That is the one we have there. There are still so many stories we have, but I want to find out first, before we continue with these stories. If my guests are already there, we would need to start working with the guests and go on with the stories. So we'll just take this break and return.
can't afford to miss the press with guests so knowledgeable and articulate.
By World Human Rights Index and Rules of Law shows that Nigeria was ranked 142 in terms of insecurity.
What of the issue of Mahmoud Yakub?
Join us Mondays to Fridays for in-depth analysis from the front page of our national dailies.
NIGCOMSAT Group in U.S. False Candles continue trial, and that's on page 27 for your readers morning.
From the heart of the National Assembly to the pulse of the presidency.
I rise to second this motion as moved by my brother Ali Jesse.
And we will work with you.
Breaking news on politics, the economy, business, education, entertainment. No matter the focus, our guests are on ground to do justice on topical issues.
Back on the front page of The Guardian, it says Trump's warning unsettles Nigeria, raises concern over religion and sovereignty.
It's a very big challenge. It's a very big challenge to us in Nigeria.
On the press, every headline is dissected and every fact scrutinized.
Start your day right. Join us on the press this morning.
Hello, I'm Abdulwahid Bushiri, former National President, Nigerian Union of Journalists (NUJ), one-time President, Federation of African Journalists (FAJ), a former Executive Council member, International Federation of Journalists (IFJ), member, International Press Institute (IPI), a former Commissioner for Information and Strategy in Ogun State. With over 4 decades practice as a journalist, and still counting, firing on all cylinders at KAFTAN television, where I invite you to not only watch and enjoy, but imagine a beautiful world. Keep watching.
Thank you so much. We are here again, and we're continuing with it. My guest is here seated with me, talking about a legal, I must say, let me use this word, a legal luminary. Though he's still a very young man, but then he's great, I must tell you. I've seen him for a while doing good as far as legal practice is concerned. And it's a pleasure to have him, who is also a political commentator. In actual fact, he's also an activist as far as when it comes to politics in Nigeria. But then let's go to commentator for today and for this program. Good to have you, sir. I'm talking about Joseph Ame. Good to have you on the program.
Thank you so much.
Right, sir.
It's indeed a rare privilege.
Yes, sir.
And I really appreciate the fact that I've been considered to come on this program.
Yes.
And as we proceed, I will bear my mind and let Nigerians and the whole world know,
understand, yes,
how it feels and what it is that is really happening from our own perspective and from shared experience.
Yes, yes.
So thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome again, sir.
Yes.
We will be discussing certain things, but then all of it, some of the things from the newspaper, front pages of the newspaper, and then, of course, the political, the future of the political, of Nigerian politics, yes. I think the topic is there, the future of Nigerian politics. So we need to look at all these things, and he knows about this. That's why he's here. So we'll talk about that. And as we go on, I want to let you know that there are some papers I couldn't mention because of time and all that, but I could just look at some of them and ask him what he thinks about any of them. And so we go on. I will say, let's look at The Nation, and after The Nation, we can look at two others, then we start talking. So let's look at The Nation, please. The Nation newspaper has it above the masthead. It has banks raise card spending limits abroad. Card spending limits abroad. Then this story of 101-year-old woman arrested for selling drugs. Then we have also 3.6% paternity tests return negative. APC will continue to keep campaign promises, says Yari. And then we have this that is below the masthead. CBN tightens security of banks' asset quality. Top banks delay submission of first half of results. Then Japan backs Nigeria, that's in red background. Japan backs Nigeria's renewable energy drive with $119 million. $119 million. Dangers of Atiku's subsidy return proposal by federal government. With these riders, Idris Muda Yusuf, roll back unthinkable. Ex-VP adjusts position on policy. Then there is the one that is mentioned as the red flag, blow for federation account revenue, freeze of foreign investment in sector, incentive for arbitrage, return of petrol scarcity. There is then these ones, it says see also page 5. Then we have learn to accept defeat, where urges politicians. NBA, that's the rider, NBA conference opens in Rivers. Then Air Force bombs terrorists. Air Force bombs terrorists. That's the one we have there in front of that. Then Tribune has always been our friend. So let's look at Tribune today. Let's look at Tribune because we've always been having Tribune in our station. And so from the Tribune, above the masthead, there are stories. Bandits kidnap Kwara traditional ruler. And then motorists groan, trucks trapped as Oye Ekiti, Ilupeju Kaba Road collapses. FG to flag off Ibadan Ijebode Road dualization today. The Nollywood man, we have talked about the man that died, the Nollywood actor that died at 66 of cancer. Then presidential campaign, this is a headline, presidential campaign committee, ADC leaders in battle of wits, page 22. NDLEA arrests 101-year-old woman. Onayeko Mba Osigwe orders to speak at NGE 2026 conference in Enugu. Oshu government warns against fresh violence, urges post-election reconciliation. And health, it now seems possible to vaccinate against cancer, experts. Then Tinubu will earn a fresh mandate in 2027, Yari declares. Nigerians decry excessive cement price, demand explanations from manufacturers as expert pegs fair factory gate price at 7,000 to 8,000 naira. But now it is 15,000 that people are getting it all. And Atiku's subsidy renewal proposal, May election season declaration, APC national chairman. I won't back down on my decision to restore targeted subsidy, Atiku. That's the rider there. Well, this is what we have seen in these newspapers. And there is the fact that we still have the Whistler, Independent, Metrics, Daily Times, Vanguard, we have Hope, and many others. I wonder. The thing is that if we were to look at all of them, though we've seen almost all of them giving us some stories that are together, but there is one, Vanguard, has a different story as its headline. That's why I want to pick it. We'll look at that and start talking. The headline story in Vanguard says, Nigeria's oil output drops by 20.8% in 10 years. Then with riders, Nigeria's influence within OPEC Plus declines. We are committed to optimizing output. Renaissance, any, then bad omen requiring urgent steps. Experts. NDNEA nabs that woman. SGF mom as a fake agency boss fires back. Ranching. FG won't force policy on Benue. That is what Governor Alia said. Then Sokoto terror attack. Hunger trauma grip 7 communities. And as we look at that, I want to end what has to do with that story on Vanguard with there's Mr. and Mrs. there. Please, let's look at it, and I want to end with it. It says, a woman is supposed to be submissive if you say we are turning our wives into robots. I have nothing to say. That's what the man said, the Mr. And the Mrs. said, good scientists say robots will rule the world soon. And when that happens, there will be no mercy. So start practicing how to get your future, how to greet your future boss. So if you say, since you say that women are become robots, they are the ones that will take over. They will be in charge. So the minister should start practicing how to greet his future boss. That's it. Now let's look at these newspapers. There is this one that says Nigeria's oil output drops by 20.8% in 10 years. Then that's this last one I mentioned, that is the Vanguard. And it says that the influence we have in OPEC is declining, you know, and all that. And then really, another one above the masthead says in the middle, insecurity. End this madness once and for all. Obi tax FG. Obi tax FG over insecurity. End this madness once and for all. Then the other one there, it says how 23 stocks beat inflation. 6 companies didn't declare dividend. 7 companies record negative return on equity. Then Onayeko Mba Osigwe Yadudu orders to speak at NGE Confab in Enugu. Now that's it. Now looking at these stories, sir, I don't know the one you would like us to talk about right now. The thing that has to do with our economy, anyway. The thing that has to do with the well-being of the Nigerian politics. What do you see? In the Tribune, there's something that said ADC leaders. That's their headline. Tribune said ADC leaders in battle of wits. That's the Presidential Campaign Committee. say, yes, ADC, ADC leaders in Battle of Wits. And then, you know, so some leaders, they said Tinubu will earn fresh mandate in 2027. That is Yari, that is the chairman of the election committee, is the one that is saying this one. Then go to Osun State, they're saying Osun government warns against fresh violence, urges post-election reconciliation. Then the final story that is down there says Atiku's subsidy removal proposal, May election season declaration. That is what the APC national chairman said. Yes, where do we go? Do we begin with the election proposal, the subsidy proposal of Atiku? How do you see it?
Let's start with the subsidy proposal.
Okay.
First of all, I will say I'm angry. And to see the state Nigeria is presently,
yes,
after the removal of subsidy by Bola Ahmed Tinubu,
yes,
the current president,
yes,
on the 29th of May 2023.
Yes.
It's so unfortunate.
In fact, that was the first thing he said.
Very unfortunate. Nigeria has been in dire circumstance. Value for money went down the drain. Let's say you had like 10 million naira on the day of that removal, on the 29th of May 2023.
Yes.
That money automatically reduced in value to about maybe 1 point something million.
Exactly.
Just within 24 hours.
I wanted to say 2 million, so it's still close to what you have.
Just
yes,
within 24 hours.
Yes, yes, yes.
People that had money in the banks, people that had stocks, people that had things of value, everything just lost value because the subsidy was removed. And what was the reason why the subsidy was removed? So that we can, you know, have abundance to be able to settle our basic things like infrastructure, empowerment programs, fixing education system,
yes,
fixing the health sector, fixing the agriculture, among other things,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Now, the first assignment, almost the first assignment that the president embarked on was actually to empower himself and his family members. I will say that without an apology.
Yes.
He awarded the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road for almost about 17 trillion to a company belonging to his friend Gilbert Chaugore, a company in whom his son, Sheyi Tinubu, is sitting on the board of directors. So we cannot talk about issue of subsidy without mentioning that.
Yes.
That was the first thing he did. Then secondly, he bought a presidential aircraft, an Airbus, very massive, at a very exorbitant rate, bought more fleet of cars for his office and the office of First Lady. He did so many of those things, while at the same time telling we, the Nigerian citizens and the common masses, to tighten their seatbelt, to bear the pain of the present and enjoy the future. The question is, how do you, as president, tell the masses to bear the pain, meanwhile, you are living la vida loca?
You see?
You are living in luxury. You are living flamboyantly.
Yes.
Your family members are moving around in convoys of 50 cars, 60 cars, buying houses, doing so many charity work in their own name, distributing peanuts to Nigerians from our resources that they have all cornered to themselves. So now, to the issue of subsidy, Tinubu, that's President Tinubu as a person, he took a very hasty decision without analyzing the situation on ground, without understanding the nuances and the details that is necessary to make sure that the subsidy, was properly handled.
Yes, I will see Barrister Ahmed. There is something that seems to be common at that point in time when the campaigns were going on.
Yes.
That he said he would remove subsidy.
Yes.
Peter Obi said he would remove subsidy.
Yes.
Atiku said he would remove subsidy.
Yes,
At least these three major people said it. Even Kwankwaso said he would remove subsidy.
Yes, sir.
But the thing is that I think the problem was that the way he removed it was not the way it would have been. Because I remember that Peter Obi, I heard him say that he would remove subsidy. But before the subsidy goes, the things that will be made available to cushion the effect of it would have been put in place.
That's right.
But that in this case, he just came in and announced it.
That's right.
So you see, there was a kind of a detour from the original thing that we all believed would happen.
Yes, sir.
Because all of them had convinced Nigerians well enough that this subsidy should be removed.
Yes, sir.
But incidentally, he removed it just immediately he came in without anything. Up to today, the CNG vehicles, we have not started seeing them well.
That's right.
We still find it difficult to find those ones that will carry you from one place to the other you pay less. It's still the same high cost that we're still getting.
That's right, sir.
Because there are still very few of them.
That's right, sir.
And this matter has gone on, and it got to a point that now Atiku has spoken.
Yes.
And what has Atiku said? That he will reverse this thing if he's voted into power.
I was getting there.
Yes, if he gets into power. Yes,
so let me go straight to the point on the issue of Atiku.
Yes.
I support Atiku Abubakar in terms of the removal of subsidy. 100%. Why do I say so? There is no country in the whole wide world that does not subsidize certain aspect of their citizens. Some countries subsidize your education from primary, nursery, secondary, university, PhD level to the end.
That was the kind of thing Awolowo did.
Yes. Some subsidize your health care. I have a friend in the UK, very good friend of mine and close friend. He has not been working for the past 3 years. He has undergone about 5 surgeries because he had a health condition.
Okay.
Guess what? He is not paying a dime because the government is paying.
Okay.
Okay? What is Nigeria subsidizing for us? What is Tinubu subsidizing for us as citizens of Nigeria? The little that Nigerians were benefiting, the fuel that people in my village, Ogugu, Olamaboro in Kogi State, are managing. They were managing maybe at the rate of 200 naira or thereabout at that point. The same fuel that my Baba is managing to fuel his generator and put money together. The same fuel that the welder on the road is fueling his generator with. And many, middle income homes are managing. That was touching the lives of everybody. Suddenly the subsidy was completely removed. And there is no other alternative subsidy in the lives of Nigerians. So I completely agree with Atiku Abubakar. Just briefly, in the alternative, if I was president, if I was in Tinubu's position at that point, and I wanted to remove the subsidy at all costs, what I would have done, in fact, there was no need to even remove the subsidy at that point. What he would have done was to set up a task force to monitor the production and distribution of fuel around Nigeria and even export. There should have been a task force to monitor every movement of the fuel.
Yes.
Get trackers, put on all the
vehicles,
trucks,
yeah, all the
to make
trucks
sure that
carrying
this
fuel
fuel we are subsidizing,
is
the
reaching
place you
people.
say it is going,
It must
once
get there.
they bring the invoice, that's the direction that you took the fuel to. To me, cheaper alternative to Nigerians and the economy than the outright removal of the subsidy. Then another thing, exactly at the same time, he deregulated the dollar.
Yes.
And made the exchange rate to skyrocket. People lost value for everything almost immediately.
Yes.
So that kind of economic policy, to me, is a jungle and cartel-style economic policy, where you drain people and offer them a little out of what you have drained from them. So I agree with Atiku to bring back the fuel subsidy and at least caution the life of the people. That's, on that point, I agree with him.
Yes.
So that is all I have to say about that.
Okay. Let's come in again. There is this newspaper, the Matrix newspaper, the Matrix, the one that has knowledge, power, future as its motto. It has something. Please, let's look and see that Matrix. It has something on its front page. It says, Kwankwanso tears into APC campaign team. And then there are two riders. The first one, he says, it represents the oppressors versus oppressed. Urges Yari to reject DG role. Wants revenue boss, budget DG to stay clear of partisan politics. I'll take that again. That's the second one. Wants revenue boss, budget DG to stay clear of partisan politics. You know, this is in a kind of warning so that we will not say that they are now using the federal government money to do that campaigning for the presidency in Nigeria. Kwankwaso, going in there to talk, how do you see it? Is he kind of disturbing them, or is it the normal thing that should have been done that he has just done?
Thank you. Kwankwaso is a great man. From what he had done in Kano State, even up to this moment, there are a lot of people testifying about his achievements. Now, going into the APC, you will discover that most of the people involved in that campaign council are people of questionable character, including people that have been indicted for corruption, who resigned from office. For example, Betta Edu, I heard she's there. Including people that have corruption allegations in billions on their head that are being persecuted by EFCC. Now, the revenue boss, Thaddeus, right? Being the boss, the DG, and CEO of the Inland Revenue of Nigeria, is holding a very critical position within the structure of government. He is not meant to be in such a committee. To me, it's a conflict of interest. Because he can dip his hand in making his own contribution in order to support and impress the president, who is his employer and boss.
Yes.
So it is wrong, and anywhere in the world that is done, whether in advanced or underdeveloped country, is clear act of mischief. And the intention of putting that man in that campaign council is not, born out of, clear conscience, but the need to find an avenue to siphon our money through his office to the campaign.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Let's take this. There is this other story that is in front of the Daily Monitor.
Yes, sir.
The Daily Monitor. It's also there. Please, let's look and see it. From that Daily Monitor, it's just above the masthead. We have the story, and it says insecurity. Nigeria must not become killing field, P2B warns. P2B has warned that Nigeria must not become a killing field. Then, of course, down, that is the story I want anyway, but down also on that front page, there is no amount of resistance from Tinubu supporters can stop me. That's what Atiku says. So he has made up his mind that he must do it, and if he ever gets to office, he will do it. But P2B here is saying that insecurity must not turn Nigeria into a killing field. There is another newspaper that I had earlier read that said something again that P2B said about this. He said we need to stop this nonsense. That's where he referred to that killing. Yes. And
that's the madness.
The madness,
madness
yes,
on insecurity.
And this madness, yes. That's what P2B said. Looking at it, how do you see that statement from him? I mean, he's talking as though there is a way that something can happen to make all these things stop, rather than letting it keep dragging for all these years. It's been happening since 2014.
Sir, going to the basics. If you recall, during Goodluck Jonathan, he alleged at a certain point that they were even members of Boko Haram within his own government.
Yes.
So, you will discover that many of our politicians, they have imported so many ammunitions, guns, and all that into Nigeria over the years in the course of, doing elections. In fact, some bring containers, load of ammunitions with bulletproof and machine guns and all that. After each election cycle, if you notice in some states, the crime rate will increase. Maybe after the money the politicians used to bribe them in the course of doing the snatching and grabbing and running, the crime rate will increase because these guns are within the hands, the hands of many of these people around.
Used it during the campaign, yes.
Some decide to use their own and start doing Boko Haram, some decide to do kidnapping, some decide to do armed robbery, and all manner of things. So, Peter Obi, our presidential candidate, is very right to sound that warning. It's a madness. The people at the top, the people importing guns, bulletproof vests and ammunition, including rocket launchers into Nigeria, if the government has the will, they will be identified. They can be identified. And they should be prosecuted for all they have been doing. Because these people, they are not repenting. They are still angling to grab power, and they are still bringing in more weapons as we are talking right now.
Yes.
In preparation for the coming election. So the violence and all that and the insecurity is not just going to stop. Because these guns must always find their way. These guns can be sold to whoever is going to murder people in the middle of the night. It can be sold to a kidnapper from the politicians. It can be sold to anybody, and they will use it for their operations. That's why you see that some incidents will happen, like a major armed robbery. They will identify somebody that used to hang with a politician at a point. Yes. A kidnapping will happen in this country. They will identify somebody that used to hang with one politician or the other, with their pictures and everything together. So you will discover that there is no insecurity, just like Abacha said, of blessed memory, that if insecurity lasts in any country for 24 hours, then the government has a hand in it.
That's a serious talk.
The government has a hand in it. Or the government folded its hand to watch, to protect its own personal interests. For example, some governors, knowing that if they collect these guns and other things from the thugs and other people like that, in the course of the election, the thugs will not want to work for them. So they just leave it in their hands, and once in a while I give them some money. Some of these thugs, they will even rent it out to other people to use for one thing or the other. So these things are things that are happening. For example, within the Niger Delta region, whenever there's an election, the kind of weapon and ammunitions that are displayed, you'll be wondering, for an independent, sovereign nation like Nigeria, how did we get here? We are not at war.
We are not.
Just an election, and you see all manner of weapons, machine guns, you know, weapons that are being used in places like Russia, Ukraine to fight major wars are being displayed on election day. So that's what we are talking about. That the insecurity has to stop, and we need a man, a president that has a will, that we cannot continue in this orgy of violence no more. Someone that has compassion, someone that is caring enough to understand that each life that is lost matters so much to the whole nation.
Okay, I want to ask you one question, and but before that question comes, I want to add that we need to, you are free to make your calls now, dear viewer. We have limited time now, but try and see if you can call immediately. The phone number will be displayed, and it's already displayed. You can make your call so that we also hear your own side of this story as we are talking. Then I want to say, before I take the next topic which we'll handle, that is the story in the Punch that says governors face questions as payout hits 47 trillion naira. You see, governors are having too much money these days. And so we want to say, what will be the future of Nigerian politics when governors have all this kind of money and they are not doing what we are seeing effectively? Talk about the money that they're having. What is it going to be like? But before then, I'll say, do you believe that someone like Peter Obi, who is the one that made that statement, that when he comes into presidency, if he does, can stop this madness he referred to? Do you think he has enough will to be able to stop it even within 3 months or 4 or 6 months of coming into power?
Thank you very much. There is no hard and fast rule to that particular, idea of stopping the madness of insecurity. Everything is about strategy.
Yes.
Everything, sometimes, there may be need to go into the trenches.
Yes.
Sometimes there may be need to negotiate. Sometimes there may be need for dialogue to bring the people together. So I believe deep down in my heart that for somebody like Peter Obi, being as compassionate as he is about the plight of the people being killed in Benue, the people being killed in Plateau, the people being killed in Zamfara and many other places, even Kogi State, being as compassionate as he is, there will be a way with him.
Okay.
So I have confidence that he can do it.
Something can happen when he is
I have that confidence that he can do it.
Okay, let's hope that he would eventually get there,
yes.
And then let's see what will happen, because as far as I know, yes, Nigerians are tired of this killing spree that we have. It's too much to be what we can imagine in our country. Many people are afraid to travel today because of the fact that they are not safe on the road. And the infrastructure that we were told would be taken care of, we are yet to see the perfection of it, other than the highways that you just mentioned that have been taking so much time and they are working on. But then the other roads that have been there, P2B, I think I saw him say the other day, what is the need going for the superhighway when the many roads are dying? And
the inner roads. All over the country, scattered everywhere.
I heard him mention such a thing. Now let's look at that one that has to do with the governors. The governors, 47 trillion naira. That's a whole lot of money that many countries can't even handle.
For many years.
Yes, for many years. Now placed in the hand of governors. And we are still talking about the fact that there will soon be state police and all that. Do you see, the work of the governors today as commensurate to this amount of money that has been mentioned? Or you see that they are still far away from the reality?
Okay, sir. If I am to answer a yes or a no, I will say no. I do not see anything, nothing at all. But if I am to go into a little detail,
yes,
I would say it's more or less a means of coercion from the presidency, giving them such money to keep them in check. Not that he's interested in the citizens, because he knows many of those governors that these people are looters. They loot endlessly. In fact, a friend of mine just told me shortly before I got to this place that he knows a particular governor. Guess what? The governor buys a house every single month. Every month. Since the coming of Tinubu, he buys at least one house. Sometimes if he's not in Dubai, he's somewhere in Asukoro or somewhere in Maitama. You understand? So, and this governor is stated there is nothing going on.
Wow. And
but I'll mention
buying these houses.
Yes, I'll mention and appreciate Alex Oti of Abia State. And I thank God for the Professor Nena Oti, the woman that was able to stand her ground and insist that I cannot change this. I cannot, undermine the will of the people just by changing the result. That made Alex Oti to come into office. That woman, may God bless her wherever she is. So I want to really appreciate her, because Alex Oti so far has displayed that the mandate the people placed on him is a trusted mandate, and he values the mandate and he values the people. And that's why anywhere you mention opposition against Alex Oti before an Abia man, they will rise up. They will rise up against you.
Yes.
But can you say that about many of the states we have?
No, that's true. In fact, in actual fact, I saw a bus terminal.
Yes.
In Omaya, in Abia State. That bus terminal looked like an international airport, not even local airport, international airport.
Of course.
And I was wondering, please, let's take this call from Mohammed.
Right.
Hello, Mohammed.
Good morning, my Oga. Good morning to your guest.
Good morning, Mohammed.
Good morning,
How is
Mr.
Maiduguri
Mohammed
today?
Thank God, Maiduguri is fine. As we keep on praying for you people in Abuja.
Thank you so much.
Nigeria will survive.
Amen. Thank you.
Regarding your topic, this issue of governors. We in Maiduguri, God help us to have Babagana Zulum as the governor of Borno State. With all the crisis that is going on, no matter what you do, anywhere you go, the masses are behind him. Why? Because
he's
he
working.
touches the life people are put into the situation they find themselves. How governors supposed to be. But it's contrary in other places.
Yes.
I cannot be accounting for what happened everywhere.
Yes.
But the problem I can point out now is federal government. To the federal government, if you know you are giving money to state government and they are not doing it, well, why are you continuing?
It's terrible.
Are you giving them this money for them to bring return from the other door?
It's terrible.
You know that kind of thing.
Yes.
So this is why many of us are looking at it that this country, sometimes, the more you look,
the less you see.
So this is one thing I always advocate, that Nigeria is our country. We don't have anywhere to run to. We must help our country. I know the president cannot be everywhere, but people that are working with him should be able to be useful, to be helpful to him, for him to do his own work.
Yes.
So it is at the stage. But unfortunately, by the time you say all these people that are supposed to work with me must come from my state, must come from my language, and my brother, things will go wrong. And that is what is happening to us. Fake agencies, fake this. Money is being going to different locations. You don't even know where those money are going to. Even recently now, the president showed some muscle on suspending some permanent secretary. Many are supposed to go, honestly speaking, compared to what is happening. I am just telling you now, and here in Maiduguri, you are in Abuja.
Yes.
The salary, pension, and all these federal government workers, somebody will honor it to one particular for him to yield interest. Leaving those owners, they're crying. Is it the president that does not pay them?
No, it's
when
not.
President Buhari was alive, the Minister of Finance, Azena, said it on the media that the president points to her, make sure you pay salary and pension. She said she took it as a national elective honor. And nothing wrong was happening. Every pensioner, every worker in the federal government, all receive their salary. Contrary to what is happening today.
Yes.
Keep everybody from Lagos State to handle financial institutions of the country. Things must go wrong. Nigeria belongs Let everybody have his own contribution. I am here now. If I say anything wrong, if I have a way of communicating through you to the president, I will say it.
Yes.
So Nigeria must be okay for all of us. We must all help our country. We don't have anywhere to go. President Bola Tinubu cannot be everywhere. All of us are his agents as a Nigerian. That is how a country works. That is why you see Iran. People are talking about Iran. Iran is better than many countries because they unite themselves, they help their country to stand as a nation. And that is what we were before. Unfortunately, some politicians who are myopic, who don't think about what is happening around the world, they came in and handled and trying to scatter us, making us look mockery. No, we will not allow it to happen. Anybody who wants power must prove to us that he will carry everybody alone. Not what he and this man is pressing OT. You only know about OT. There are other people good ones as well.
Like Zulum that you've just mentioned.
Yeah, it's good to know.
Yes.
It's good to know. You know that Zulum is trying.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mohammed. I wish that you would call again some other time, Mohammed. You are always there for us. Thank you. You see, as you just talked about OT, he is talking about Zulum.
Yes, I did not advert my mind quickly.
Yes.
But I know that Zulum from his first term tried.
Yes,
I didn't know much of him because the news about him has gone down.
Okay.
So that's why I didn't mention him.
Okay, so Mohammed, at least you have heard. He knows that.
I know that Zulum did very well in his first tenure.
Okay.
But I've not heard much from him in the second one.
All right. Yes. So there are governors that would help. So at least there is a future for Nigerian politics because if things happen like this and they develop, if one governor, like, let me use Peter Obi. When Peter Obi was in Anambra, when Peter Obi was in Anambra, my state, he did a lot. So when the other man that came after him, Obiano came, he saw the money that he kept and used it to build the airport. So he has done another thing there.
Yes.
So that's the way it is. Yes. So there are things people need to see. Finish something that is good so that another person can come. Like before Peter Obi came, Ngige did a wonderful work as far as the roads in Anambra State are concerned. You know, he did so many beautiful roads that are still very strong because he got Julius Piaga to do the work. So like that, it is a kind of a race that you exchange buttons, and people keep doing and making things better.
Yes.
I pray that somebody that will take over from Zulum, because this is his last tenure, his second, would continue from where he stopped and continue to do good.
Yes.
And as they will allow Oti to finish his own, so that the next person coming will see another aspect and continue from there.
Yes.
Oh, well, I must say that it's been good doing all this and sharing the moments with you, my dear barrister Ame. It's been a pleasure sharing the moments with you.
Thank you so much. It has been a wonderful moment being here, and I must commend you for, thinking about the nation first and bringing people to talk about solutions and how we can move on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yes. And of course, this is the first. It will not be the last. You'll keep coming many more times, I believe. I pray that you keep coming. So.
As long as I'm giving the necessary notice and I'm available, why not?
Okay,
I'll be here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Well, dear viewer, that is how we'll conclude what we've got with you for the day. And I'm saying it's a beautiful morning, I must say. And we'll continue with this spirit for the rest of the day to enjoy. And God will help us to excel in all that we do. I want to, just as I've said thanks to my guests, I want to thank you because you are also part of it. And I wouldn't forget to say thanks to Mohammed that keeps calling from Maiduguri. I thank you so much, Mohammed. And others that keep coming, please keep calling. We want to have that contact with you effectively. And I want to thank my people in the studio with whom I have worked. There are many of us. I won't be able to mention all the names today because of time. But then I will not forget that Adebayo is the leader of the team that is there, because I've seen the others who were there with him. And then on my own part, I also want to say thanks to the victors, the Adeye and Chizea, and all of them that worked on that side. I want to thank you. And I will thank Debbie that is working with me, Deborah. Thank you so much. We'll see put things together to achieve greater success. Thanks, everyone. And Debbie is Obolo, of course. And then before we say any other thing, we wouldn't forget to say that this is how we'll conclude. But there will be another tomorrow morning. It happens Monday to Friday. So please keep being part of this program. On behalf of everyone, this is Okechukwu Onobog, and what have I got to say? May the very best happen to us all the time.
Amen.
Right.